Good morning, everyone. In today's video, I'd like to do a bit of a recap on yesterday's video in which we scanned for stocks or oversold stocks with high short interest. We came up with a list of 5. These were the 5 RVLV hostess groups, so TWNK, RRC, KNSA, and then MTZ. Out of this list, MTZ was the one that looked the strongest, given that we had a squeeze signal. This is what the daily time frame chart looked like. The cyan arrow right there is a squeeze signal. That really just suggests that, hey, we are looking at the squeeze to start to take off. If we see a yellow arrow, that's our slingshot squeeze, and that's giving you a bit more time, a bit more of an early heads up to try and get inside of this trade. Either way, out of this list of 5, MTZ was the strongest, and then we had 4 other stocks that we also had identified in which we were looking for triggers on the intraday time frame. Now, for all 5 of these stocks, I've also generated an indicator file using our Stock Volatility Box platform. If you have access to the platform, we can go ahead and do that right now. So we'll just say MTZ, RVLV, TWNK, RRC, and then I believe the last one was KNSA. And then we can click Generate Indicator, download this aggressive file, and this study can be imported directly into ThinkOrSwim. Now, if I come in here, let's start first with the daily time frame in MTZ. This is where we left off yesterday. We had that squeeze signal. Now, if I come into a 1-minute time frame chart here, the triggers that we had mentioned that you're looking for are some sort of momentum triggers. For our Volatility Box members, that came in the form of the Slingshot Squeeze, which we had 3 of today. This is what I talked about in the video, along with that squeeze signal. And we saw really that same transition that we've grown accustomed to seeing pan out here. Right? If I load in the actual squeeze so you can see how that translated, we had 1, 2, 3 slingshot squeezes along with an opportunity to enter at the market pulse line. That was right around 94, a little bit greater than 94 actually as well if you overpaid. The squeeze there, that's where we saw this momentum turn and shift. We then had cyan arrows letting you know that, hey, this is really the time to get in before the squeeze is taking off. And that move then took us really into the 1272, not before we've had a bit of a drag here as we tagged the previous highs. So the 1272 was really pretty much what this move was good for. That was about $1.61-ish from the point of entry, so a little bit greater than 94 to 95.61. And that was right around 2%, not the greatest in terms of the stretch target we were looking for, but it did give us the bullish triggers that we had in mind, along with the daily longer term bias. Now, one other thing that I thought was interesting is if I load in the stock volatility box here, if this were on our trending list, which on Fridays we don't really look at that trend to continue, but this did meet that condition where we really just started off in the first 15 minutes, jumping above the previous day's clouds, suggesting that that too was bullish with buyers coming in to bring up price action in MTZ. Now, if I contrast what MTZ looked like, this is the one place we had the triggers. Now let's move on to RVLV, which is another stock on the list. This too met our bullish volatility box condition in which we had buyers prove within the first 15 minutes that they were really looking to try and drive price action up higher in Revolve. We had to move directly straight to our volatility box target line, and then from that point we've really now started to fade away. The one difference here in Revolve is we didn't see the squeeze signal or slingshot squeezes, so no triggers for us to get in, but it was interesting to see this overall bullish bias come through, and we see that move actually translated in terms of the percentage that the stock is up. Now we keep moving down the line. We also had hostess brands. Hostess brands should look a bit different here, right? So this is today's opening activity. No signals at all. And if we zoom out to get an idea of what the volatility box looks like, we're really just inside of no man's land. So no real trade there, nothing too interesting. Now, next up, we have RRC. So if we come into a charts of RRC, we don't have the slingshot squeeze or the squeeze signal, so no momentum play here. The one entry we may get if the day continues to bring us a sell-off is an opportunity to get an oversold entry on an intraday time frame here to try and play that overall long-term move that we laid out using our oversold signal here on the daily time frame chart. So that would be really the daily time frame and the intraday overlapping in terms of our oversold signals and giving you a discounted opportunity to try and get long this move that we're looking at. So that's the only setup that I'm looking out for in RRC. Outside of that, the last one that we have on our list was KNSA. Now, KNSA did give us that same bullish trigger here where we had buyers come in, really look like they were about to drive price action up higher, and that went the exact opposite where KNSA is down negative 3.49%. Now, we still didn't see that slingshot squeeze or squeeze signal, so no momentum trigger, but just interesting to see that the buyers here had a bit of a juke out, and now the entry that you'd be looking at is that same oversold entry similar to RRC at our volatility box oversold levels. One thing we also added in for all of our stock volatility box members is these labels right up here. This was thanks to a user suggestion, but now you can also see the prices directly inside of the indicator file if you didn't want to find them inside of the dashboard. All right, so either way, hope this video helps to give you a recap of how to take advantage of the moves that we saw yesterday. Those were off of the daily time frame chart in 5 stocks, really, that we identified. And then we boiled it down looking for very specific signals on a 1-minute intraday time frame chart. If you don't like the 1 minute, use a 3-minute, a 5-minute, a 15-minute, whatever you may be looking at. But there we have very specific triggers for volatility box members. That's the slingshot squeeze or the squeeze signal. If you have your own set of momentum triggers, you can use those. But once you use that, you can use Fibonacci's for your first layer of targets, and then for volatility box members, the stretch targets are the opposite side's target lines, which give you an opportunity to try and milk as much of the move as possible. All right, hope this video helps. Take care, everyone. Good luck trading, and we'll see you in the next update.